Mic check 1 2 1 2. It's the Y2K Collector, and it's been a beautiful weekend on the East Coast, and honestly, we deserve it. We got the scare of our lives the other day when we experienced one of the most recent earthquakes that we've seen here on the East Coast. It rocked a lot of people, no pun intended. And I think a lot of us are still shaken up. But the beautiful weather that we saw this weekend was perfect for the family and I to get out and run some errands. And you know how I do it. I'm trying to conserve on time and balance my time a little bit better. So whenever we go out, I try to find an opportunity to hop on over to the video game section while the missus and the kiddo are running their errands. And so I decided to do just that, to see if what everyone's been saying about the disappearance of physical media is actually true. And to my dismay, I actually wound up seeing that physical media is actually evaporating right before our eyes. It's pretty sad. I remember the days where I would go into Kmart, Caldor, Radio Shack. Nobody beats the Wiz. I know I'm dating myself here, but the shelves would be fully stocked with all types of video games. And here I am in Target in 2024, and I'm looking at empty shelves. I mean, the shelves were literally empty. Where video games should be, there was nothing but cover art. And I was a little bit confused because am I supposed to buy this cover art? What am I supposed to do with all of the cover art and controllers that I'm staring at? I mean, in fact, there were more digital download cards than there were actual video games. And it was a little disheartening because, you know, I kind of look forward to actually going to the video game section to see what's in there. Although I'm not actively collecting for the Switch at the moment, I still like to see if they've got anything unique, anything niche, anything indie there. And it seems like the few games that they actually did have in the store were obviously all AAA titles, the common stuff, the Marios, the Princess Peaches, the Warios, the Sonics. And don't get me wrong, those are great games, but just not really what I'm into at the moment. I'm kind of going for more of that niche. I try to look for the more off-the-cuff type games. So I guess what they're saying about physical media is true. And if I do want to get anything old school or original, it seems like I'm going to be regulated to my local mom and pop thrift stores. So that was the next stop that I wound up making. And it's kind of sad because a lot of my go-to spots seem to have either shut down or gone out of business. Maybe they can't afford the rent. You know, this is a pretty tough time in the economy. So a lot of the options that I had during the pandemic have seemed to just dried up. But I did happen to stop by a few old faithful thrift shops that I usually go to, and I hit up the media section. I've actually been looking at some DVDs and some Blu-rays lately because I've been wanting to kind of see which ones from my childhood I can pick up, or even from my high school days. You know, things like Chronicles of Riddick or Underworld or Fast and Furious. These are movies that really kind of shaped my childhood. They were really, really impactful movies. So I'm trying to really just kind of, the same way I'm trying to curate my video game collection, I might curate a small DVD or Blu-ray collection. But I did happen to make my way over to the video games as well, and I gotta be honest, it is dry, slim pickings. Either that or I'm just not as good at video game hunting as I used to be. And I'm starting to think that it's the latter, because maybe it's because I wake up late. I'm not waiting online. It's just, it's sad, but game hunting hasn't been really the priority for me over the past couple months. Maybe even in the last year, it's been more family time. But I am hunting because I am on a hunt to add 9 Super Nintendo games to my collection this year. Just 9, but these are 9 very rare and exclusive Super Nintendo games. And so when I go out to hunt, I'm really just looking for games that I can actually flip. And when I was at my local thrift store, I thought I lucked up and found a Mario Kart Wii for the Nintendo Wii that I could possibly flip. It looked like they had it there for about $5 or so, but when I opened it up, the disc was cracked. So it was unfortunate. I didn't have a lot of luck at my local thrift store, just not really seeing a lot of, you know, quality games to be able to buy and flip at a decent price. And then, you know, everything that is good or is in good quality is either gone, because I think because the competition is so high, you really gotta be on it. I mean, you really gotta be out there hunting. You gotta be the first in line, and you really gotta be ready to strike while the iron is hot. And I just haven't been in that mode. So I was pretty much left with the scraps, and so I really didn't have much luck at my initial thrift store. But I did happen to go to a thrift store that I hadn't visited in a while. Now, this is kind of like a place that's in the cut, and I don't really have many in the cut spots left. So I'm not even going to show the scenery of where this place is at or the surrounding area, just out of fear that, you know, it might become a little too popular. What am I saying? People probably already know about this place, but I happened to pop in, and this is one of those thrift stores where they just have everything everywhere. I mean, you might find, you know, Earthbound underneath a bucket of wrenches. It's just everything is thrown all over the place. They've got jewelry on top of record players. They've got hardware on top of software. It's just everything is all over the place. And so I did happen to find a section where they did have some video games, and I went hunting. I went digging through them. And there's a good and a bad. So I'll start with the bad. The bad is that they didn't really have anything ultra valuable. There wasn't anything too exclusive there. You know, it was a lot of common Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 stuff. But the good is that everything that I found was complete in box and in pristine condition. A good bulk of the stuff, not a good bulk, but actually a few of the games that I found there actually were sealed. So that was good to find. But overall, that store is a really cool store. They happen to have a lot of things, and I'm sure they have more things in that store there that I can actually flip outside of video games. So I'm thinking I'm going to have to expand my horizons, or expand my, you know, what I'm looking to purchase, because I don't know if I'm going to be able to flip just video games if I'm going to make this video game challenge a reality. As you all know, this month the game on my list for April is Super Turrican 2. Now, the price for a loose Super Turrican 2 cart is going for somewhere between $230 and $300. I mean, I've seen it on eBay for around $329 all the way up to like $350. I'm not paying anywhere near close to that for a Super Turrican, but I know I'll probably have to cough up something over $200 for that game. It's not really common at all, and I don't really see a lot of copies of it online either. So I'm going to have to really get my flip on to be able to pick up a copy of Super Turrican 2. So I've got a little bit of a sales box going of games that I'm going to be using to try and build up the fund. Right now I've got about $200 available, so I am going to need to raise somewhere in the neighborhood of another 70 to 80 bucks, and I'm just including taxes, fees, and shipping, because again, I'm not going to try and find a copy of Super Turrican 2 in the wild. I just know that that is an extremely long shot, and I will waste more time value trying to look for it than if I just put in a good amount of offers online and hope that someone accepts an offer somewhere close to within my price range, either on, you know, OfferUp or eBay or Mercari or one of those sites. So I will have to do some virtual hunting for that one. Now, in other news, many of you know that I do have a couple side quests for the rest of the year outside of the 9 Super Nintendo games that I plan on picking up. And that includes adding Spider-Man games. So any Spider-Man games that I happen to find in the wild, and if I can't find it in the wild, then there's some that I'm willing to get online if I can get a pretty good offer going, or if I'm able to land a pretty good deal. And so this week I was able to get a decent deal on an X-Men game that I once had in my collection, but I let it go like a fool when I was doing a bunch of selling. And that is X-Men Mutant Apocalypse for the Super Nintendo. Now, when I initially sold it, I sold it because I had Marvel War of the Gems, which in my opinion was a superior game. But looking back, those games play very similarly. They play almost exactly the same, just the differences in the characters. You know, in the X-Men one, I think you have Wolverine. Do you have Wolverine in Mutant Apocalypse? I can't remember. Yeah, you do have Wolverine in Mutant Apocalypse, but I believe you also have Wolverine in War of the Gems. But both were made by Capcom, and both kind of play the same. They're both side-scrolling beat-em-up games, very large characters that take up a good chunk of the screen. it's pretty much, I don't want to say one dimensional, but you're not able, there's not much depth to the screen. It's not like a Streets of Rage where you can, scroll up or scroll down. It's pretty much straightforward. And I guess in a way it's kind of when you compare it to some beat 'em ups, it's not the most exciting beat 'em up, but I do want to get these beat 'em ups because it kind of takes me to where they probably got the original sprites for games like Marvel Superheroes and Marvel vs. Capcom. Because when you look at the way the sprite work was done on some of these characters in some of these older Super Nintendo games, it's easy to see how they were able to just plug them into Marvel Superheroes. And I'd been playing Marvel Superheroes and Marvel vs. Capcom before I had even played X-Men Mutant Apocalypse. Now I did have War of the Gems way back in the day, but I do want to get some of these cheaper X-Men and Spider-Man games because they are fun. They're decent beat 'em ups, and I want to have them in my collection. So those are some side quests that I'm working on, and I'm glad to be able to say that I did add X-Men to the collection this week. So it's just one game so far in April that I've added to the collection, and then I've got a bunch of PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 games that I've got in the box to sell. So really stoked with the progress that we're making. I did make some other sales on my online store. I don't just sell video games there. I sell different wares and different forms of media. So I am, like I said, I am going to have to expand my horizons when it comes to what I decide to sell to build up the collection fund, because one, the pickings are very slim out in the wild. Either I just don't have the get up and go that I used to, or it really is getting dry for me to be able to find the games that I can actually flip to get what I want. And I made a video the other day about not putting yourself in danger. I got to be smart. I got a family to think about and take care of. I cannot be doing Facebook deals where I meet people strange times of the night, or even in some cases, certain times of the day. I appreciate everyone who commented on that video. You all gave me a lot of great ideas as to how you can protect yourself when you're doing Facebook deals online. But I mean, even during the day, these are hard times. These are tough times, and people are getting desperate. And whenever you're trying to buy something of value or sell something of value, people will do some crazy stuff. I mean, I saw a story a few months back out in Long Island where there was a gentleman who tried to make a deal to sell his Rolex watch, and the person just straight up snagged it from him and got in their car and tried to drive away. He tried to stop them by jumping on the hood of their car to prevent them from driving away, which honestly, I don't care if it's a Rolex. I don't care how much money it is. Nothing is worth your life. Like, I'm not jumping on the hood of anyone's car for any item. Like, that's just, if you want to steal it, go ahead and take it, But it just goes to show that in these very challenging times, and in times where people are getting more and more desperate, you just have to be careful. You got to be mindful of what you do. And if you can avoid anything that's risky, my advice is just avoid it. And I'd rather buy lame games the safe way than risk it and, make a mess. So for me, that's where we're at with the collection right now. About 200 in the fund, a few items on the store, and it looks like I'm going to have to go outside of video games to raise some money, just because I'm not finding much good stuff out there. So that's where we're at with that. Real quick before I wrap up this week's video, just to kind of let you know where I'm at. So I'm still on the health journey right now, averaging around 206. So I'm still stuck in that 206, 207 zone. I'm glad that I haven't ballooned back up to 216 or 218 or anything like that. I'm glad I've been able to kind of stay around the 206 zone, which that's a job in and of itself. Just maintaining that weight takes work. So I know that for me to get under 200, I'm really gonna have to crank it up, and it's been tough. Just been doing a lot of stuff at work. Work has been killer. I've been trying to just, it's a rat race. We're all in it, right? And whenever you have a full-time job, you're always trying to exceed. You're always trying to go above and beyond. Raises are real, bonuses are real. And, it's a grind, man. It's definitely a grind. So the health journey is continuing. I've been including greens in all of my meals. So I usually try to have at least a bowl of greens with my meals, no matter what I'm eating, if it's spaghetti, if it's wings, if it's salmon, if it's chicken. So always try to include some of those greens to kind of help you out. And yeah, stay healthy. A healthy body, healthy mind makes you an even better gamer. But that does it for me. I don't have anything earth-shattering or groundbreaking. Figured I'd just catch you all up on the findings, the happenings so far this week. I'm going to be spending the rest of this weekend trying to beat this difficult game that I got. I didn't realize how difficult X-Men Mutant Apocalypse is, but I'm going to give it a crack. I've already gotten a game over screen at least 3 times so far, so we're going to keep at it. I come from the generation where we grind our way to victory, and so that's what it's going to take for me tonight. But that does it for me. Hope you had a great weekend. Hope you are enjoying your time with the fam. The weather's getting nice, so hopefully you're getting to get outside and spend some time and do some things that are outdoors and that you enjoy. It's the Y2K Collector. I will be with you this week, coming at you with some more videos. Shout out to all the subscribers, everyone who's been liking the videos and commenting down below. It's a community that we're building over here, and I love to see the engagement between the viewers. Hopefully you have a good night. That does it for me. Take it easy.